Which is harder to explore, the ocean or space? And which is more fascinating? Do we have more secrets hiding at the bottom of the ocean versus space? For me, this question was always very simple. Like, obviously space is very expansive and there might be other oceans out there with other forms of life that we have yet to discover. So obviously for me, space is way more interesting to explore in the long term. I think there's way more hiding out there, but it seems like it's so impossible for us to get to those other planets within our lifetime. So I feel like we could potentially explore more interesting things at the bottom of our ocean since it's right here. But there's a lot of things that make it difficult to explore our own ocean. So let's hear some of the reasoning that an astrophysicist might have for why one may be more interesting than the other.
Do you believe the bottom of the ocean is as fascinating as space?
Yeah, it's just much harder to get to.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What makes going down there so much more difficult than going up there?
Much harder to get to. I don't think that's a very truthful answer. I think that space is obviously much harder to get. Like, if you're talking about our moon, sure, it's easier to get to our moon than potentially the very bottom of the ocean. But I don't think that it's easier to get to another planet than it is to get to the bottom of the ocean. I think that's definitely false. You can send a rocket there, but the speed that you have to go at to get there in a timely manner versus exploring worlds that are very destructive, like if you were going to try to go to Mercury or a place that's very unhospitable to humans, I think that is definitely harder to get to than the ocean.
Because do you know the atmospheric pressure around us right now?
Yes.
One.
Okay. Let's just call it one atmosphere.
Yes.
Numerically, it's 14.7 pounds per square inch.
Okay.
This is one atmosphere.
Yes.
Okay. When you go into space,
Zero.
do you know the air pressure?
No, I do not.
0. So what's the difference between sea level and space?
Right.
Is one atmosphere. You go in the ocean.
Yes.
Every several meters, I forgot the number, is a whole extra atmosphere's worth of water pressure on top of you.
Okay.
That's why that submersible imploded and everybody died.
Wait.
Every several meters, I forgot the number, is a whole extra atmosphere's worth of.
Every several meters. Okay, it gets pretty heavy pretty quickly. That's a lot quicker than I would have imagined. But still, space, yes, you don't have all that pressure trying to cave in the container that you're locked inside of, but you don't have an option to come back and as quickly. You can't resurface or course correct as quickly as you would be able to in the ocean. And of course, you have like things like submarines where we had like the Ocean Gate thing where they were crushed and they weren't able to come up for oxygen for whatever reason. But at the same time, they were doing it very irresponsibly. And you do need to know your limits when you're exploring the bottom of the ocean, just as you would when you're exploring space. Yeah, I think if you have a container that is strong enough to withstand all that pressure, it's definitely possible to build that, but just very difficult. It's also not something that we put a lot of money towards, but it is interesting the difference in pressure here.
Water pressure on top of you.
Okay.
That's why that submersible imploded and everybody died on it a few months ago. I forgot what the expedition was.
I know.
Yeah, it was in the news.
Yes.
Right? The deeper down you go,
the more pressure
you feel and the more stress your vessel is under.
Yes.
It's much harder to build something where you stay alive under those pressures than it is to stay alive in space.
Fair enough. Okay. That is true. Because a lot of people, when they think about going to space, they think of it as very inhospitable just because of how alien it is to have zero gravity. But the container that you have to build, it's protecting you from radiation and things like that. in terms of the structural integrity of the thing, it doesn't have to be as strong and keep away that much pressure. Well, it doesn't have to keep away any pressure just because space is a vacuum. That's fascinating. I wonder the difference in funding it would take to build something that would allow you to live at the bottom of the ocean versus sending somebody out to space.
We know more about the surface of the moon than we know about the surface of the ocean.
Somehow the animals find it just fine, just be able to go down there and chill out.
Yeah, you can walk around on the surface of the moon.
We didn't evolve there, so we're not capable of. And by the way, back there, this is literally where the sun don't shine.
Right.
So they have pretty useless eyeballs.
Right.
They'll have vestigial eyes that they may have had at another time, but then they didn't use them. They didn't need them, and so the sockets are still there.
Right.
But they're just not getting
Do
used.
you think we are as interested in what's down there as we are what's up there?
No. Anything in space, I'm surely biased right now,
Yes.
but maybe not.
Right.
Everything in space is more interesting than everything on Earth.
Right.
I'll give an example. Not everything, but let's say there's an 8th grade class of kids.
Okay.
And you study volcanoes. You're a geologist, and you come and say, I like volcanoes.
Right.
And here's like, Vesuvius.
Wow.
And that blew up in ancient Rome. And here's that. And you just go on. Everyone say, wow, wow, wow. And I wait till you're done. And then I come in. They say, this volcano on Mars is the single largest mountain in the entire solar system.
Yeah, I think that's the line of thinking that I was initially having, is that even though everything on Earth is fascinating and there's so much more to explore on Earth, in context of an entire universe that has yet to be explored, there are certainly more interesting things objectively. Like if you set certain scales for interest on Earth, you could definitely find more interesting counterparts out in the universe and even in our solar system that are much bigger, much more plentiful, things like that. Any superlative that you would like to use, it's going to be out there for the equivalent that we have on Earth. The only thing that we don't know for sure about is life. That is something that makes Earth insanely interesting to us right now, is because we don't know for sure if there's life out there. And if there is, which is very possible that there is it complex to the degree of life on Earth? And does that make Earth more interesting if it's not?
On Jupiter's moon, Io is the most volcanically active place in all of our sector of the galaxy. And I'll show pictures of it, plumes coming up. Volcanoes on planets. Wow. Not volcano. And then I win because it's a volcano in space. I got another one. Ready? Yeah. On Europa and on Enceladus, it is so cold, but it's warm underneath. It gurgles up, punches through the ice, and you have ice volcanoes.
Ice volcanoes?
On these moons. Ice volcanoes. I got the whole class. You out of a job.
Yeah, that's way cooler.
On the map.
Don't get me started.
Literally.
So it's bigger than what they portray on the map, or is it smaller than what they portray on the map?
On flat maps, there are distortions in the north and in the south.
Okay.
And Africa straddles the equator.
Yes.
Okay. So on those maps, the most accurate sized things are along the equator.
Okay.
As you move away, things get artificially bigger because of the projection.
Okay.
And North America looks huge.
Yeah. Canada looks enormous.
You can fit the continental United States, you can fit 5 of them into Africa.
5 times. That's crazy. And the United States is huge. Yeah. So that must mean that Russia looks so huge, and it is huge. But I just wonder what the comparison between Russia and Africa is if 5 USs can fit into Africa.
5. Wow. And we make a big deal of what state you're from. Oh, you're just from Africa.
Right.
You're not going
you lump it all into one.
Countries are in Africa? Like, really?
Yeah.
You learn every state in the Union, and Africa can fit 5 of those.
Right.
So,
And that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize how diverse Africa as a continent is. Like, even within the countries themselves, like the countries weren't divided necessarily based on the people who lived there. Like the lines were cut between different peoples. And it's not like there was one united group in any of these countries. Like, that's not what the borders were divided on. Like, you could have so many more divisions within those countries for certain ethnic groups within those countries. The continent itself is much more diverse than people think, and the way that people think about certain countries in Africa, if they even do to begin with, they are going to think of them as like one united people, when in reality there's so much division. And that's why you have certain wars within Africa itself, is because, you know, the people who feel like they aren't represented by the government are somehow lumped into the same group of people as like a completely different tribe or completely different peoples.
so it's not that Africa is too small or large. It's that North America and Europe are distortedly large relative to Africa.
Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they're in a race to get the space. Have they called you and say, hey, Doc, help us out?
They don't need my help.
The quickest, safest way?
They don't need my help. Plus, they're doing different things. Bezos, he's got this, you go up and you come back.
Right.
Right? Elon can actually put things into orbit. 2 very different spacecraft.
Right.
And Bezos is, how long is that ride? 20 minutes at most? Something like that? You don't need bathrooms on board unless you have bladder problems.
Right.
If you have bladder problems, you shouldn't be going up anyway.
Going up in space.
All right. Whereas Elon will put you into orbit.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a much more significant space operation going on
Right.
than Bezos or Branson or, you know, the billionaire boys space race. So, yeah, I'm not eager to go into quote space.
Right.
Because to everybody who asks me that, they're talking about these going up and coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
If you shrunk Earth to the size of a schoolroom globe,
Mm-hmm.
I ask you, how high above that would you find the International Space Station? Just take a guess.
Oh, like a centimeter?
A couple of miles.
From the schoolroom globe.
Yeah.
Okay. The space station is 4/10 of an inch above the surface.
That's it?
4/10 of an inch.
Bezos
That's a
and
little
Branson, when they sent
more than a centimeter?
Yeah.
2
the
centimeters?
thickness of 2 dimes
A centimeter and a half?
above Earth's surface, if Earth were a schoolroom globe. As an astrophysicist, I cannot embrace that as space.
Right.
Space, send me somewhere. Moon, Mars, beyond.
Yeah.
Then I'll go.
Well, Musk wants to populate Mars.
Yeah,
You interested in that?
No, well, yeah, provided he sends his mother first.
Yeah, I think you really have to think about becoming a martyr if you're agreeing to go to Mars or somewhere like that. Even the moon is, even though it's very well thought out, it is still very dangerous. A lot can go wrong, especially at launch. You really have to come to terms with the dangers of traveling to space before you actually decide to go. Like, it's not just, oh, take me to Mars. It's just a quick trip to Mars. Like, you are putting your life on the line and really trying to cut a path in human history at the expense of your own well-being. Because even if you do survive, the damage that it does to your bones and everything, like it weakens your bones and your health, and probably your mental health is going to suffer to some degree in making that journey. But if the idea of going to another planet and being one of the first people to go to another planet, or even just exploring that and seeing something completely different than what most people in human history will ever be able to see, if that's important, then yeah, that might be a worthy sacrifice.
You're not going to be the guinea pig.
I don't want to be anybody guinea pig. Yeah. And I would go to visit. I wouldn't go to stay. Do you realize Antarctica is warmer, balmier, and wetter than any place on Mars?
Oh, I didn't realize
Yet
Mars was
nobody's
that
lining up to
cold.
build condos in Antarctica.
Yeah. What is the
You can't
And I
legally.
guess I'm asking the wrong person. But what's the fascination about putting having people go to another planet, or go to have people to be out of space? What is that fascination?
To go where no man has gone before.
Yeah. That's human history in a nutshell.
Just because you don't feel it doesn't mean others wouldn't.
You think people would actually want to live?
There was already a company called Mars One that would get people to sign up for one-way trips to Mars.
Whoa.
They went out of business because they couldn't raise money enough to do it, because it's way cheaper to send somebody there one way than to bring him back.
Of course.
So it'd be like the old Mayflower, you know?
Yeah.
And I spoke with the guy, the entrepreneur,
Mhm.
who was Dutch, by the way, which was a little surreal
Mhm.
because the Dutch East India Trading Company
Yes.
came right behind Columbus to sell you stuff in the New World.
Mhm.
So I spoke to him and I said, are people interested in doing this? Yes, there's a waiting list. For my podcast, we interviewed one of the people who had signed up.
Yes.
Kind of geeky guy,
Yes.
you know, my type. And I said, well, why do you want to go? It's because it's fascinating. It's a frontier. I'd love to. And you're not coming back? You okay with it? Yeah. And I said, what does your wife think about this? And he said, oh, she's encouraging it. I didn't want to give him a lesson in relationships.
Yeah, but yeah, she over you, bro.
In that moment, I didn't want to be the one
Yes.
to
But she's over him, right?
right.
Okay.
So, here's the thing. When the Mayflower landed in the New World,
Yes.
and they got off the ship,
Yeah.
they could breathe the air.
Yes.
If there's a
That's
broken
true.
part of the ship, the trees in the New World are made of wood.
Right.
Yeah, if something goes wrong on another planet, you gotta either be insanely prepared or insanely savvy to come up with a solution, because nobody's coming to help you, and everything is not designed, but everything is not for you. Your body is not designed for that environment, and there are so many more things that can go wrong than if you're just exploring a new continent.
And they could repair it. There were other human beings waiting to feed them and when they landed.
Right.
That was a one-way trip, but the destination was very different
Yes.
than from Mars, where Martians aren't waiting to feed them.
Right.
They can't breathe the air. There are no trees. Not that you would repair a spaceship with wood.
Right.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's settled. Like, space is definitely more interesting in terms of the amount that there is to explore. I think the bottom of the ocean is very interesting in the sense that we know that we are related to the life that's down there. It's our home planet, and there's so much to learn about ourselves by going down there and our own world. But they're both interesting for different reasons. But I think space is obviously going to provide more new discoveries in the long term by far than the ocean would ever, just because of the size of it. But yeah, so I never really understood that comparison, but they're both interesting in their own right. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, please leave a like and a comment what your thoughts are, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching. See you next time.